Good morning, humanity. It is December 21, 2020. That's 12/21, 2020. And it's again our favorite time of the week because it's Mondays with Bev and Paul. And hi, everybody. My name's Paul.
Oh, hello. This is Bev.
Hey, Bev, what's
Hi.
happening today?
Oh, oh
Woo,
boy.
we got a lot today, but first wanted to tell everybody out there we are simulcasting on YouTube, Twitch, Periscope. We have some, so hopefully we'll have some new friends with us if you're joining us on those platforms. And you ever want to
Cool.
get hold of us, go to justtouch.com, office at justtouch.com. If you can put a comment in there, I can try and read it. I've also got a way to try and read different comments, so I don't. We'll see if that works.
We may lose Paul.
Yeah. So we are out there in the ozone to all of our new people, but today is a very special day. Yeah, it is the 21st, which is considered the solstice, the winter solstice,
The
right, babe?
winter solstice. Yes, the longest night and the shortest day.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
which,
how's that going
yep.
to apply to what we're going to talk about? Death.
Well, it's kind of symbolic. So we always associate the day with light, the sun, and with night with, darkness. So the fact that it's the longest night is kind of like what it's all about. Life is, but at this time of the year, the lowest interlude of the cycle of nature, which we are a part of, the life goes inwards. It goes in. It's preparing. So after tomorrow, it will start to break open. But right now, this is a sacred, holy time, and for us, it's a time to take those seeds from the harvest and look at them and process and integrate and begin preparing for the return of the light in the spring when we plant those new seeds. So this is
There you
what
go.
nature does all the time. The rhythm, we need to be part of the rhythm of life here.
There you go. And so we thought, well, we'll talk about how BioTouch works with death. And that got inspired to me by an article that was written by a Dr. B.J. Miller. It was in the New York Times. And the title of the article, if you get that paper or want to look it online, what is death? And he is a hospice and palliative care doctor. So he certainly knows
He's
about experiencing death
been
on
down that road,
on a
huh?
lot of different realms. And at the end of this show, we're going to talk about an experience we had working with a young man in hospice caring while he was dying. So stick around for that. Um, what we want to do is read parts of this, and we want to sort of build on it as we go along. We've tried getting prepared for this idea, but we'll start with just his answer first of all. When he asked the question, "What is death?" He said, "I've thought a lot about the question, though it took me many years of practicing medicine even to realize that I needed to ask it. Like almost anyone, I figured death was a simple fact, a singular event, a noun, obnoxious but clear in its borders than just about anything else. The end. In fact, no matter how many times I've sidled up to it, or how many words I've tried on, I still can't say what it is." Well, that's it. Show's over.
You're all on your own.
Oh, so it also he goes on further in there. He talks about how death usually is thought of as an end of the body, and it can only be said to have happened if a doctor or a nurse practitioner claims you're dead, and they look at the clock and
Right.
you're okay, they've died, and then you have a death certificate, right? And that's how we think about death. It's this ending of those two functions, the brain and the circulatory system. But he goes on in the article, which we'll talk a lot about it's just a big dear friend of mine, Lou Epstein. It's just the beginning. As
Yeah.
far as the body goes, he goes on in his article, it's constantly breaking down. The system is still breaking down. Cells are still transforming. And then even when you die and you bury yourself, the cells go out and things go out and feed the earth, and the earth feeds the plants, and so all the earth and all the plants have parts of us in it, you know. And he even
Yeah.
talks about how do people really die, because all of our loved ones are still in our mind and our heart, maybe less and less that we think about them. So in death, in the sense of it's becomes more expansive. It's like you were just sort of talking about. To me, it's a cycle of the darkness that all of a sudden the body stopped, but so much more is starting to happen for a rebirth.
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole nature of life. It's constantly being destroyed and rebuilt. That's a major, you know, activity in all of life, no matter what level you're speaking it. So, you know, I was really impressed with Dr. Bush when because he kind of he really, I think, gets it. He was talking about the fear that humanity has lives with death, but that if we really look at it, it's the beauty that we are. You know, so it turns out to be the quality of our living, because death is imminent in all forms, not just in the human kingdom, but as we know, everywhere. So, one of my teachers years ago made a comment which I have kept with me. It makes so much sense. Do not suffer death in small doses. In other words, why don't waste your time on something that is inevitable? So, the quality of your living is what you leave. That's what our loved ones leave behind. That's what we leave behind to uplift. So it's about tweaking our thought about who we are and what we're here to do always. And you know, this is one of the things that we have talked about in terms of what biotouch his, is here to bring a quality of living where we can contribute and be aware, self-aware, contribute to our group and to the planet,
Right.
to all of life. And that's one of the great, I think, gifts. It's here to help us restore what's true, what's real in our lives. And that's each other and and taking care of life here.
So that's what I sort of liked about this article. Sort of inspired in me again. You know, many thoughts about taking death's advice now. You know, and like you just talked about, Dr. Zach Bush, also, and that's the greatest thing in this culture that we don't deal with. We don't take its advice. We have people like Don Juan who said, "A warrior takes death's advice." We have Shakespeare who said, you know, "And death once dead, there's no more dying then."
Yeah.
You know, there's all kinds of. Krishnamurti said we need to die nightly. You know, like each night should be a death to the day. And so death can also remind us of how to live in the present moment with our loved ones, with that, as you just said, the quality of our life. And but we don't have teachings in that. You know,
No.
it's he goes on later, talks about how difficult that is. Uh, Dr. Miller says, but this is how we make hard things harder. Maybe our fear of death has more to do with our perceptions of reality than with reality itself. And that's good news. Even if we can't change what we're looking at, you can change how we look at it.
You know, that reminds me of we have to look at where our focus is, what we identify with. If we identify with just the body, then there is incredible amount of fear because it's going to be destroyed and you won't be here anymore. But if we begin to identify with life and love and the light in the world and know that we're part of that and that's what we hold within us, the real parts of ourselves, the divine essence that you and I have talked about in terms of what BioTouch is here to help us restore. If we think about what we really are, then we know that nothing dies. This is one of the things that we'll talk about later, this hope of life in the midst of death, which this planet has really been witness to, for most of this year. I just find it so amazing that the culminating at the end of the cycle of this year, oh my gosh, we have this great star in the sky that's announcing a new life that we all can embrace.
Right.
The
Jupiter and Saturn,
preparation,
right?
yeah, I mean, it's just, my goodness. So we have to look at life and the light that we are, and not always, because when you just, if all you look at is the body, then of course there's going to be fear. That's one of the things why BioTouch is here. It helps us in our fear at the physical and in our bodies. It has to start that unfolding, right, for us, and that's what's so incredible about BioTouch.
And we
It
talked a lot
meets
about that.
us.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the fear last week. And you're talking about the planet and what's happening. Funny, this morning I just read, not only do we have this huge light in the sky that you've had some good posts about, but Kilauea on the Hawaiian island is exploding again. It's
Wow, really?
talk about ending 2020 with a bang.
A bang. Life is.
Yeah, it's
Life
just like
is.
there it is, folks. We are being it's we see in also in Dr. Miller's article, he talks about how we're being bombarded with this death idea. I mean, you turn on the news now or any TV program, and it's like a ticker tape. The
Yeah.
numbers of death is like watching the national debt. It's ding
Wow.
ding 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 ding. So
isn't that something?
yeah, and so and this fear like it just builds up, and so that's why we want to talk about BioTouch and how can we apply something as simple as a light touch with two fingers on our loved ones to help with death. And we're going to move into a little testimonial that we have, but this one of these last paragraphs that Dr. Miller said, which really moves us into our testimonial. Beyond fear and isolation, maybe this is what the pandemic holds for us. The understanding that living in the face of death can set off a cascade of realization and appreciation. Death is the force that shows you what you love and urges you to revel in that love while the clock ticks. Reveling in love is one sure way to see through and beyond yourself to the wider world where immortality lives. A pretty brilliant system, really, showing you who you are, limited, and what you're part of, vast. As a connecting force, love makes a person much more resistant to obliteration.
Wow,
That's pretty
that's
deep words for a doctor.
that is very profound. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we do, it's nice that we have some professionals out there in the medical field, Dr. Zach Bush, Dr. Miller, helping us along on this journey to identify with something beyond this.
What we see, what we
Yes.
perceive. Yeah.
And yet, BioTouch addresses this body.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
do have this story of this young couple. They were in their mid 20s, and the young fellow had a brain tumor. And I just wanted to say hi to Fatos and Kai out there,
Hi, girls.
so they can hear this story. Maybe the first time they've heard it. And he had a brain tumor, and they knew he was going to die very soon. And he'd been doing chemo. He couldn't really talk. He couldn't write. But they were very vibrant couple. And they came into the center, and we worked with this couple. And I think we worked on him 3, 4 times a week, and they would come in. And in a matter of a few weeks, interestingly enough, he began to be able to write. sort of like a first grader, but he was able
Wow.
to write his ideas and to speak a little bit. And he started getting better and better. And and they felt so good about what was happening, they decided to go on a vacation. Hadn't done that in years. And so we showed her what she could do while she was gone. And when they came back, it was very interesting. He started to deteriorate quickly. And soon, within a week or two, he was in hospice. And of course, our fear of death. I mean, I'll tell you, I can get a flu or a cold, and that old brain, that mortality brain, clicks in of like,
Right.
oh, am I dying? Jenny, feel my pulse, hurry, do biotouch.
Biotech.
You know, that fear of death, it's just automatic. It's not,
I know.
you can have all the philosophical belief systems you want,
Right.
but, when it comes down to it, that body
Yeah.
identification shows up. And so he went into hospice, and we as practitioners almost freaked out. And so
Hmm.
we went in twice a day. We had practitioners 7 days a week going in to work with him with hospice. Interesting thing happened. He was being worked with a lot of other techniques, a lot of energy modalities, a lot of prayer modalities. But the only time that he would recognize somebody being there is when we did biotouch, when we did that greeting. And when we did that greeting, his body would sigh.
Hmm.
Oh, he would do. Which, interestingly enough, I just heard that a sigh is some kind of transformation. I can't remember where I heard that. But he would sigh. Well, lo and behold, he did die. And we did go to his memorial. And his wife came up to us afterwards. And I'll just never forget what she said. BioTouch to that couple was the one thing that brought them hope.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that. And it was what
Yeah.
we were just talking about. It brought them hope, quality of life.
Yeah.
They knew he was going to die. So it wasn't hope that he was going to live forever. It was hope with that quality of life that they both got to share in his final days.
Right. And also in that self-awareness for him, maybe that the death of the form does not mean death for life.
Right,
It is just a transition
right.
into something else.
It's like a dear friend of mine, Lou Epstein, always said, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. We
Right.
just need to let ourselves be loved. BioTouch, folks, is a way to do that. It's a
Yep.
simple application of loving the neighbor. It's a simple application. We can encourage you to do that during this pandemic time where there's much fear, there's explosions of volcanoes, there's conjunctions of planets.
Yeah.
Just reach out and touch someone. A little bit of joy, a little bit of hope. And we do have ways that we teach the technique, and one of them is a workshop that's coming up at the end of January with Karen Arnold. It's about crisis, grief, and loss. I mean, talk about perfect
I
timing.
mean, here we are.
So she's going to talk to us about a lot of the work that she does with that. And we're also doing a virtual training. Again, this is the entire program of BioTouch. We give you a manual DVD, and we go and practice all the points right there on a virtual Zoom meeting.
It's great.
If you're a massage therapist, a doula, or a nurse, you can also get 8 continuing education credits for that. If you've ever taken a class and want to just take it again, just let us know and we'll give you the link so you can come on and join us. Once you've
Yeah.
taken a class once, you don't have to pay for it again. Again,
Right.
we're not worried about making a lot of money doing this. We are interested in bringing the gift of health and happiness and love back to you. It was our birthright. We just keep forgetting to open the box, folks.
I know. Exactly. Exactly. Which is a great ending to our show, and us giving the gift of BioTouch to everyone this season, enriching your lives,
So
you
let it
know.
be your Christmas gift for you and your loved ones.
Yes, indeed.
Bev, Merry Christmas.
Oh, Paul, thank you, dear. Same to you and Jenny.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas to all of you. I wore red to celebrate it. I had my Santa hat, but I forgot it today. And celebrate with all your friends and loved ones, and we'll see you all next week. Bye
Have a
bye.
glorious holiday, everyone.
I can feel the pain, sunshine or rain, so it's not caused by the weather, but it doesn't hurt that much after I feel your loving touch and we spend some time together. You take my pain away each and every day. You're an angel from heaven on high. Your butterfly touch helps me heal so much, and I get better as time goes by. You take my pain away. All my joints were sore, but not anymore. Since you touched me your special way, the way you touch makes me feel that your love is for real, and I feel fantastic all day. You take my pain away each and every day. You're an angel from heaven on high. Your butterfly touch